Welcome to Care to CEO, episode 4. This is the ugly truth, the hardest parts of running a care business. Behind the scenes of what no one tells you, staffing nightmares, compliance stress, emotional burnout, and how to push through it all. Crystal Smith is the host, so welcome back to Care to CEO, the podcast where caregivers turn into confident care entrepreneurs. And today's episode, we're going to do something important. Tell the truth, because running a care-based business isn't all clean paperwork and full houses. It's real, it's raw, it's messy, and if you don't know what to expect, you'll quit before you succeed. Crystal's pulling back the curtain to share the hardest parts of this business, how she survived them, and what you need to do to stay in the game. How are you, Crystal? How are you doing today?
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here again. We are on episode 4. So, this train is moving. It's a dream come true. Just the podcast in itself. I'm going to be very honest. Something that I was pretty shy to do. Didn't think that I had the stuff to do a podcast, but here I am. And I'm really excited. I'm very excited to be here with you. You always pull some good stuff out of me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm excited too. I love talking to you, and I know our listeners too as well. So, Crystal, let's start here. What's the biggest shock that people experience when they go from dreaming about a business and being an entrepreneur to actually running it?
I think one of the biggest shocks is realizing that this business will break your heart before it builds your bank account. You need to first understand that. You come in with this vision to heal, to serve, to, conquer the world. But you quickly learn that systems, staffing, and state regulations, they don't care about, your good intentions. And what makes or breaks you really depends on how well you lead when the dream looks nothing like the plan. And I think those are the moments, especially for me, when I realize, okay, this is not a job. This is definitely not your typical business. This is where you really understand, like, this is a calling, because everyone can't do this. Everyone cannot do this. They weren't meant to do this. And callings test you before they reward you. And you need to understand that. That was something I had to learn.
Absolutely. It's definitely, like you said, a calling. So much goes into it beyond just like paperwork and staff and regulations and necessary work. There's a lot of like emotion and things that go along with it.
Absolutely. I mean, it never ends. Documenting everything. Just the day-to-day operations of it. It's all a test. But it builds you up, it makes you stronger, and it's how you learn. We don't learn when everything is going perfect. And honestly, there's no such thing.
Right. Yeah. I feel like mistakes are, such a big part of learning and growing. And I know your day is probably super busy, but can you share like a real day from your journey, even back then when everything felt like it was falling apart, and how you handled it and got through that?
Really? Okay. So I remember specifically a day that, oh my goodness, I don't know how I didn't quit this day. 3 staff members quit, 2 clients threatened to leave. My youngest had a fever, and I had a house full of just everybody needing something. Everyone needed some sort of care, and we were low on staff, and it's just me and my husband, and so I had a real moment in my car, just kind of a little bit of a meltdown, and I thought, I don't know if I can do this, but then I took a deep breath, I prayed about it, and I reminded myself that storms don't scare this woman, because she built her business in the middle of a hurricane. So I pulled myself together, walked back in the client's house with love, And I really try to handle every crisis in that way from here on out, and I handle every crisis like it's part of the mission, because it really is.
Yeah, that's hard when so many different things are happening. Like, how do you even ground yourself and find that within you to like take a moment and even prioritize what's needed and who gets what and who needs what, and how does that work? Like, you have to have some like strong priority, like internal ways to prioritize things.
I mean, so initially, of course, I didn't have a team, so now that I have a team, it really helps. When those earlier on, when I first started this business, I did everything myself, and so now that I've learned to, ask for help, take a deep breath, don't think that I have to do everything myself, or in my case, everything in one day. Because I like to if it's up to me, I get every task done in one day and knock it out. That's just not how this works. So yeah, I really had to learn to just take those moments and take that time out and take a deep breath, count to 10, and usually the answers come. If you just calm yourself, calm your mind, then the answers tend to come. And it's important for people to remember that it is very important, because this is business. This is how things go.
Absolutely. And I can definitely see how like that can lead to burnout, especially when you have a staff and people are quitting and maybe they're not working out. And I know you've talked about hiring staff who just want to be a body, to say, quote unquote. But like, what makes staffing one of the hardest parts about running the business?
So I've definitely learned along the way that you can teach someone a skill, but in this business, they really have to have heart. There has to be heart present. When you're staffing a home care agency, you're not just like hiring hands, you are hiring hearts, you're hiring values and character. And, sometimes the biggest challenge is really just filtering out people who see this as just a paycheck. And I don't want this to sound too cliche to say that you have to love your job, because let's be real, I have had plenty of jobs I did not love. I'm sure everyone that works at Walmart or a factory or something, they don't love their job. But in this business, we care for people. We don't work with products. And so you need a level of humanity to really be effective, so it's very important. So now I had to start getting that eye, being that this business is about people, and the people that we serve can feel when you don't care about them. I don't really just look at resumes all the time, because I have definitely been in this business. I've learned that people can have some very high credentials and status, and they don't have a caring bone in their body. You know what I mean? So what does that mean? The job is first. You need to care about the people we serve. So I hire energy, integrity, good intentions, because at the end of the day, the real currency in this business, it's not just money, it's trust, it's care. So yeah, I had to learn that.
Absolutely. And I know that must be super hard like within the hiring process. Are there any things that kind of stand out, or things you look for that are evident when you're interviewing someone? Like you said, you're looking for those who have heart and integrity, and there's certain characteristics not on a resume.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm just going to be honest. I know I get with the world we live in, and like weeds legalized and things like that. But I have had people call me, because they want to interview or they're looking for a job. And I mean, can hear them like coughing on the phone because Lord knows what they're doing, what they are actually doing. I've had people call and they sound like they're like in bed. And it's like, I mean, did you really just call me your potential employer while you sound like you're like half asleep asking for a job? So it's things like that that's very evident. That's like, okay, yeah, I don't know about this. But then I have definitely found that people can fool you, because I've had oh my goodness, I had someone like an elderly staff person work for me, and she was, I mean, she's in her late 70s, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be so great. But yeah, no, it wasn't. She was doing some things she really shouldn't have been doing, and I had to part ways with her too. So you really just have to feel. So that's why I like to interview people in person and really get a good feeling for them, because even then sometimes people are really good at hiding who they really are.
So beyond hiring, which is obviously super complicated and a hard part of running a business, I know a lot of people tend to think that the hardest part is getting licensed, but the real work really starts after. So what do people underestimate about staying compliant and staying organized?
Okay. So I like to say that in this business, the license is like the wedding and compliance is like the marriage, so it's like when when people get married, the real work starts once you get home, and that's what I've learned to understand. So it's a daily commitment. Policies, audits, documentations, trainings, incident reports. Oh my goodness, it doesn't stop. So the moment you relax and you're like, oh my gosh, things are going so smoothly, that's when, oh my goodness, things just start to slip. And that's how people lose their agencies sometimes. So staying organized, it's not just about paperwork, it's about protecting your purpose, which ultimately is protecting your legacy. So, I try to remember that this is a commitment, to striving for excellence. Now, I will tell you right now that I am most certainly not perfect, and that even my business is not perfect, but you measure success by how far you've come, right, from where you started. And if we measure success there, I am absolutely successful, because I have come a extremely long way, and the goal is every day to get better. So my business doesn't look like it did a year ago, So I continue to create those systems and just get better. And I don't even want to use the word to perfect, but you at least strive for it. That's not a real thing, but you're striving for excellence and to be a better version of not only yourself, but you want your business to be a better version of what it was a year ago or even a month ago. So that doesn't stop. It's a commitment. So it's a lifelong commitment.
Absolutely. No one's perfect, but it's always the goal to strive to be better. I like that, to try to be better than yesterday. And Crystal, you do so much. You do so much. I don't know how you do it, but as a woman, a mom, a wife, and a business owner, how do you avoid burning out while taking care of everyone else? Or do you go through burnout?
Oh my goodness. So I have burned out more than once, more than twice. I have allowed myself to get so caught up in business, the day-to-day operations, trying to just be everything to everyone, that I've been on the brink of serious medical, conditions from doing that. But the one thing I'm not going to do is give up. I learned to ask for help. I learned to rest, that rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. You got to let your body rest. I let go of the lie that I have to do it all myself all the time. And I learned, to fill my own cup first, because it's my overflow that nourishes my family, my business, and I most certainly make time for self-care and for my family. So those are the main ways that, you know, I don't burn out. When I feel it coming, I address it. It's like, okay. Like I go to the sauna. I go in my sauna and just sit there and just be quiet. Just sit in quiet. So that's something that I enjoy doing. And not only usually does that give me some peace of mind, but it gives me some fresh new ideas or some fresh ways to tackle issues that need resolved. I come up with some really good resolutions when I can just be quiet and think for a minute. So you got to find something, you know, that can help get your sanity back, give you your sanity back and keep your peace. You have to maintain your peace at all costs. Like, it is the most important thing for me.
Absolutely. I love that. Fill your own cup first, because the overflow is what affects everything around you pretty much. And so sauna's one of your self-care things, which sounds like you get a lot of ideas and peace and tranquility from that.
Absolutely.
Are there any other things that you do to avoid burnout or do as self-care things if you have burnt out?
Oh gosh, I'm probably would be weird in other people's eyes for this, but I like to go. So I would say I like to treat myself to lunch and be by myself. Alone time for me is like, it's a really big deal. It's a must for me. I'm married. I love my husband. I love my children. I love my family. But I really am able to just kind of recharge when I can go have that alone time with myself and just gain new perspective. So it's a part of my week to do that. And I also enjoy going to iCryo. I don't know if you've heard of iCryo. Okay, so it's like you can go and you can get like your vitamin infusions, or you can go in the cryo chamber, or you can go red light therapy. But like, you know, that's my idea of self-care. You know, everyone has their own thing, nails, hair, whatever. But that is what I like doing, because it's also usually pretty calm there and I can relax. And like I said, it just kind of gives me back that energy I needed and that peace.
No, absolutely.
So you got to find your thing. You got to find your thing. Self-care clock somewhere in the week.
No, for sure. I mean, I love my alone time and I don't deal with half as many people as you, so I don't think that's weird. And red light therapy, that's very actually common. I know a lot of people who do that. I have only done it like facial, but I wanted to try like the full body ones. Like, they're supposed to be really good for you, so I don't think that's like weird at all.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I do. And I love my skincare. I love like dermaplanes and oh my gosh. Yeah, I love getting anything skincare. Yeah, I'm there for that.
Me too. I'm with you on that one. And I know you had shared once that sometimes welcoming, you know, all these families into your home and things like that, you felt like you were a second parent to the families that you served. How did you learn to set boundaries without losing your heart in that process?
Well, and it's very easily to cross those boundaries, because I do care about the people I serve, but I still need to maintain a level of professionalism as well, because there's a job to do also, you know, and I'm a provider and I'm not the parent, but love doesn't mean that you lose yourself, you know, in anyone else. And I can still serve with compassion, but I don't have to carry burdens that aren't mine. I don't have to carry unnecessary burdens. And I don't think that boundaries are walls. You know, I think they can be bridges that protect both me and the people I serve, or the people I love, for that matter. And setting them is not, it can be the most loving thing that you can ever do for yourself, for the people you serve, your family, and anyone in your day-to-day life. And it is essential. So I encourage everyone to establish them, keep them, and that has nothing to do with your lack of love or compassion for anyone. And don't let anyone tell you that. That's when
Absolutely.
you burn out.
Yeah. Those were such good quotes too, like serve with compassion, but also like boundaries don't have to be walls. I think that might be even a misconception when people refer to boundaries, because essentially people feel like boundaries are walls going up. So they don't always have to be a wall. They can be a bridge or something that separates you and that need or that person without having it to be like a big wall, like a barrier almost. A boundary can be soft, doesn't have to be this hard, strict, like direct thing. It can be something that is more fluid and still setting aside time for yourself to not be burnt out.
It would be like, it's just the way we care for our children. I don't want my child to stick some scissors in a socket, because that's dangerous. I mean, so we have to establish those boundaries, because they're also what help provide safety to people, safe environments and nurturing environments. So again,
Absolutely,
they're essential, very necessary part of growth and success.
Absolutely. And with all your success and growth, and you've been doing this for quite some time now, but thinking back to like the first 6 or 12 months, what's one mistake that you think you made that cost you time, money, or peace, or all of the above? And what would you do differently today?
Or I would absolutely all of it. So all of it, and then some. We could probably add 5 items to that list. Yeah. But I think one of the mistakes I made earlier on, oh my goodness, so we'd have to go back to some of my earlier businesses, because I've been establishing and starting businesses since I was in my early 20s, and I was a single mother at the time, so I really had to wear every hat. There was no one else. So what I learned is that you can't wear every hat. But initially, there was a time I had, especially like childcare. I had a 24-hour childcare. It's just me. I'm the teacher, the cook, the transporter, the confidant. I mean, I was everything. And pivoting into this, initially, I was the administrator. I was in marketing, HR, billing, and I did everything. I wore every hat. And in doing so, you can really lose yourself. I mean, it can just become like an ocean that you're drowning in. So today, I delegate with love. Oh my goodness. Like, I am finding someone to do it. And I can't believe the beauty of that is, I can't believe how you can find people to do things they enjoy. They enjoy it. There's housekeepers out there like, I love this. Like, I know to someone else, they look at this and they're like, oh my God, you're a maid but this is like my joy and my peace. I love arranging and keeping other people's home. So I've learned to, deal with people in their lane. Like, if someone has a lane, oh, I so don't want to go in your lane. I want you to stay right in your lane. Let me stay in mine. So I hire support for just about everything. I didn't even know there were some of the things that I hire people for now. I didn't even know I could hire people for these things. And so I get support that way. I invest in systems, because really the freedom comes from the structure, not the hustle. Hustle is just like it sounds. It's like working harder, not smarter. And of course, there's a time where we have to do that. Oh my goodness. Still right now, I've had to hustle more years than I did. You know what I mean? But the idea is we don't want to do that. We want to create a system as structure that really works itself. And you can build, well, you can't build an empire if you're buried in all the tasks that really someone else should be doing. And I can't believe how I used to fill my days with, from social media marketing to, to cooking, to driving, to shopping for all the houses. Yeah, no way. Today, I can't do it. And the good thing is there are people that like it.
That's so many different hats to wear. No, absolutely. I think that what you said is very like well put, like delegate with love, but that's something that you've hustled your way and built yourself up to that point that now you are able to be in a position where you have staff and you can delegate and source things where in the beginning you may have not been able to do that, or you may have not even thought about it. As such a doer and a hustler, probably started that with that mentality of I can do it all myself, and then quickly realize it's too much to take on for any person.
Right. And then some people just really feel awkward about hiring people to do certain things. I hear it all the time. Like I have a laundry company that I use, and that's really when, again, it's really like when things are just like really busy and things have gotten out of hand, and you're like, okay, yep, need help. And so, there's actually an app. I mean, there are apps for your laundry, but I'll say that to someone, and they'll say, oh my goodness, I couldn't have someone wash my underwear. And I'm like, well, you know what? I can have no problem with it. No problem. Because that's going to free me up to do something that is going to be much more beneficial, a better use of my time. So it's not a problem for me. I will go right in that app and put my order in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like what you said, like your time could be better allocated elsewhere and making use of it. And like you said, people have their lanes and things that they like to do. So
they really do.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I get my clothes back from this app I use, and I'm like, oh my goodness, because I would never sit there and take I was never going to do that. It's not my. I mean, I'm so serious. I like analyze the clothes like, wow. So a machine do this, but that's because, hey, that's somebody's lane, and I'm totally fine with that.
Absolutely. And like even that, like a little off topic, but I follow online this girl she started off as a housekeeper, and she enjoyed it so much and has this huge following now that now she has made, I guess, so much money and has so many followers that she stopped being a housekeeper, and now she does like free home cleanings for people and has all these sponsorships, and she does it because she loves it, and it's her way of giving back to those who are either in need or overwhelmed or struggling with like mental health. So everyone has their lane, and
wow, see, look at that. And in all honesty, like that is a real thing. Some people that when their house is starting to get really out of hand, and and I know people judge for that, but that could be a real mental issue you're going through. Something going on in your life, some state of depression, and all you need is some help. Just someone help me get it together. You know what I mean? Because definitely your environment, it shapes and nourishes who you are, as well as your children or anyone else in the home.
And it is a cycle. It's like if you don't feel well, if you're, surrounded by an environment that's not benefiting you, then how can you be your best? And then how can you go on to serve others because you're not filling your own cup? Like you said, like you need to set those things in place so that you can feel good.
Right. But also, there's 24 hours in a day, and I have so many things that I have to do, maintain the business and the individuals we serve. That, I mean, if I just took my own home and I cooked and cleaned and, oh my goodness, and tended to the children, that is like we all know that is a job in itself. Like, seriously, if we really calculated how much mothers and women and just anyone, dealing with their home life should get paid. I mean, that in itself, it's a job. It's a job.
Especially you have so many kids at home too. So it's like,
I know, right? I know. I mean, like, I have a team, like, have a whole, like, football team. So yeah. And then lots of personalities and
it's like, I know starting out you didn't have that team, so you were still doing all these things while you built yourself up and built your business up. And now we're at the point where you can have that freedom to do that. But starting off, it's not always easy to do that. But the more you do, the more reward, and you have different times that need to be allocated differently. And I'm sure that that's something that's pretty hard to deal with. And I'm sure that there's so many other things that are hard to deal with. Even what you said is probably being one of them. But what's one thing or another thing that nobody really talks about in business, but that they absolutely should, or something hard about business that they don't?
I'll say people, you don't know going into, I would say, anything, not just this business, anything, especially when you're working towards your goals, you don't know a lot of times that your success triggers people that you thought were in your corner. Yeah, for whatever reason. You weren't trying to hurt anyone. You weren't even paying attention. You were just focusing on what you were trying to do to succeed. But people around you, they don't like it. They get hurt by it, and that's weird. And I will say, in this business, like any other industry, there are some bad politics that exist in this industry. Caseworkers may not like you, and therefore they don't want to send clients to you, even when you are well qualified, the most qualified to care for someone. There's just something about you they don't like. There are families and caretakers who can be very difficult to work with. There, you will find times where there's just lack of support or resources. And when you go from worker to owner, helper to leader, it really exposes other people's insecurities. You lose relationships, but you definitely gain clarity. And that clarity is what makes room for your real tribe. Because your real tribe, your real people, that's what I always say. My people, my people want me to succeed at all costs. And it doesn't bother them that I'm doing well or doing better. Because they're too busy also trying to do better and walk in their purpose. So those are the people I want to be around. I like to be around people who are like, you're going to have to be the best around me. I like that. You know what I mean? It kind of makes me feel like I'm on an all-star team, and where our goal is to get to playoffs, so that's what my ideal people, and that's what I have around me. And it's not a one-way street. I want the people around me to do and be their absolute best, and I'm willing to help them do that. So you just got to be around people that reciprocate that care for your overall welfare.
Absolutely. And I think that that's wonderful that you have that, and also shows a lot about you, because that's something that you've also had to build. And on top of building a business, you've had to build your circle, your tribe, your community.
Absolutely.
Now, when you refer to the circle, are these people that you've met, aside from your family, unless that's specifically who you're referring to, but the circle and the tribe that you have, who are these people to you? Like, how did you meet them?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So I really stress to the people I work with, who are, looking to start their own home care agencies or just start businesses in general, that in most cases, the earlier stages, on your journey are walking alone. And there can be a lot of uncertainty there. So I didn't really have anyone to really help me a lot of times, especially in my earlier years of trying to be a successful business owner. And I just want to really encourage people to keep going, because when those people that were in your life or who you thought were going to be there start to walk away or turn their backs on you, that is exactly what is supposed to happen. That please let them. Please let them walk away. Please walk away from them if you have to, because God is going to send you exactly who you need. And they may not be from your family. They may not be anyone you know. They may not even live in your city or state right now. So my tribe is now spread all over the place, but I'm so grateful that I just kept walking. Even when I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't have this. I don't have, you're not supposed to focus on what you don't have in the first place. But I will say I absolutely did at times. All I did was sit there and think about what I don't have. But despite that, I still kept moving. And as I moved, it really is like, I describe it as like one of those merry-go-rounds, if they used to be the playgrounds. And like once you start, they're kind of hard to push, especially if you got a lot of people on them. But once you get that thing going, it starts going, you know what I mean? And it's moving. And so that's kind of the way I would describe, just waiting for your people to come. It's something that just kind of happens as you're moving. It's like, oh, got another one. Oh yeah, I love that one. I never even thought I needed someone like that in my life, and I love that you get the kind of people that have skills and talents and love for things that you just don't have anything to do with. That's just it's who they are, and then they bring their gifts and talents into your world, and they allow you to leverage their gifts and talents, and you can reciprocate that. And so that's a really beautiful thing to me. I actually love that. And I found that I've had so many strangers be some of the greatest gifts to me, the greatest cheerleaders. So you just have to keep going, even when it just feels like, nothing's working and there's no one in your corner. There's plenty of people in your corner. You just may not have met them yet. They're coming. Just sit tight.
Absolutely. I love that. And it's like you said, you keep going and keep moving. And if you're surrounding yourself in places for what you're trying to work for, you'll probably naturally find people that are on that path as well.
Absolutely. And of course, yes, I didn't say that, but you have to put yourself out there to find those people. But that's what I meant by just moving and walking in in your purpose and going through the motion. You should be, if you want to be successful, you should be in the places where you can learn and grow from whatever it is, you're doing, whatever industry you're in. You should be putting yourself around positive people. You should be going to places where there are positive people and you have the opportunity to learn and meet new people. That's what you should be doing all the time anyway. And in doing so...
Absolutely. I love that. It is, yeah, keep going and put yourself out there for sure. And I know someone who's as busy as you, that was probably, hard over time, but now that you're at this place, looking back, it's probably one of the most important things that you could have done. So I think that's probably a key part to growing your business, to have that tribe, to have that motivation.
Absolutely. I'm glad that I learned earlier on, because I think one of the first businesses I got involved in, I believe 20, and it was prepaid legal, and it was a network marketing company. And being involved in that, I was constantly around people and going to events and getting the opportunity to speak. And I think that really kind of set me up for realizing early on that you have to go, put yourself in the right environments.
Absolutely. Environment is so important
in that business.
And I know, well, that's helpful too.
And of course, my dad pulled me into everything he did.
That's definitely helpful. And that's a good experience that you probably got younger, like being able to be comfortable to be pulled into different things and different scenarios. As someone, that can be startling for people originally,
Yeah. He made, right. But he made business to me because of just how much we talked about it, and he was constantly thriving to have this successful business. Like, it was like secondhand nature. Like why would anyone not, you know what I mean? But that's how he made it seem to me. There's just the way, I'm sure some basketball players, instill that teamwork and different values involving certain sports in their children. That's what my dad did with me when it came to business. It was like a sport.
Absolutely. And I know from early on till now, there's probably been multiple moments like this, but I'm sure you've had moments where you have wanted to quit. What did you tell yourself to push through instead of just walking away from it?
So I remind myself of the countless young people, because that's something that's very near and dear to me, who want and need direction, because I was many times one of those young people. And I remind myself of every woman who has been overlooked or underestimated, overworked, underpaid, and they need a reminder that we don't quit. And during those times when I felt like that, I said, Crystal, you didn't come this far just to build a business. You came to break cycles. And that purpose has really held me down throughout not only my business journey, but my journey as a mother, as a wife, just, as a person.
It's like that saying, like, you didn't come this far to come this far. Like, there's always more.
Absolutely. Kim Kardashian, Kim K.
She did repeat that and it blew up.
You said that, yeah. You sure did.
Absolutely. It's a great quote, though.
And that stuck with me. So I did, I have definitely kept that quote in my head.
For sure.
From Kim K. You go, girl. I'll take that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that, there's been, so many times that you probably have had to tell yourself that and stick to your internal voice that keeps you pushing and keeps you going. And even though you feel like there's burnout, on the rise, there's just, something in you that keeps on going. And it's great how you've learned now, like,
I mean, that you're meant to do something when there's a flame and you can just feel it and it won't go out. Because I've tried to put it out. I just thought, I just want to watch Netflix and I'm good. Like, once I bought my first home and it was like, I'm cool. Listen, me and the kids, we're good. We're just gonna do, live this life we got. As long as I have everything I need, I'm good. I was very complacent and just happy with having just what you need, just a home and a car and a way to pay the bills. I was good. But it's definitely like the universe, God, no, honey, get up, no. And he's like, but I don't want to, I'm good. So that's how because I wasn't able to rest.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I'm trying to just be normal. I just want to be a regular, I'm good, work and come home, watch a few shows. But no, there's obviously other plans. There's something bigger for me that I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to help other people do it. So I have definitely learned to embrace that. I'm excited for that. And apparently I'm the person for the job, even though I didn't think so for many years.
Absolutely. I feel like there's so many people that struggle with the opposite. They're complacent and they want more, and they struggle to find that internal fire, or that flame that is getting them out of their Netflix watching, feeling complacent mood and vibe. So the fact that you wanted to do that and couldn't do that really is like a testament to, you are the right person to do this. You are the right person to be a mentor to.
I'm the right person for the job. And now, I say that to myself. Wait, you're the person for the job. Like, there's so many times in my life that when I didn't have what I need, I created it. I tend to do that. I don't have what I need and I don't know where to find it. I say, okay, well, I guess I'm the person for the job. I got to create it. That's again, I think I've said this before, but that's how I started my childcare. It's like, I don't have childcare. I don't have support I need right now. So I guess I'm the person.
You are the person.
A mommy and daycare teacher.
But that also probably is what makes you such a good entrepreneur, because businesses start from seeking out a problem or identifying a problem.
Right.
And finding a solution or a fix from it.
Yeah, I enjoy strategy, creating it. And I had no idea that that's what I was doing earlier on in life, when I was really backed against the wall and I thought myself out of some really tough spots. Like, oh my goodness, this is it. Kids, this is it. But I just would, think. I had to just think, like, okay, what are we going to do? And I think that's why part of my peace is sitting somewhere quiet. Because that's what I had to do. Well, what were we going to do? There's times we were literally in the dark. You might as well think.
Right. Absolutely. No, alone time is so valid.
No better time to think than now.
For sure. And you're in the position where there's always so many people needing something from you. You need that quiet time to just be with yourself. I totally hear that. And you've pushed through so much, all the staffing nightmares, compliance stress, emotional burnout. And thank you for sharing how to deal with that. And thank you so much. It's a pleasure as always. I know that I've taken some notes on little tips and tricks on even just burnout tips and tricks and thoughts like that, and just feeling inspired by all that you do. So thank you again for talking through all of that.
Once again, had a lovely time, an amazing time talking with you, talking with our guests, and I hope someone gets something out of it. That's the goal. If just one person does, I'm absolutely happy with that. And, until next time, I'm excited for the next session as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Crystal. We'll be back next week with episode 5, but thank you so much for today and talking to us about the hardest parts of running a care business, and we'll talk soon.